Hello, friends. Welcome back to 3 on Thursday. So, if you are returning, thank you so very much. I really appreciate you coming back and visiting with me each week or however often you come. If you are new here, this is 3 on Thursday, where we make 3 cards every Thursday, almost every Thursday, and sometimes there's a few more cards. This week there's just 3, but they are super cute, super easy to do, and I bet that you will love them. My name is Michelle. I am Crafters Northwest. Most of the supplies I use are Stampin' Up! Supplies, and let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So this first one kind of evolved as I was putting it together, and this light is super bright today, and it's giving a lot of glare, so excuse my reach while I try to turn them down just a little bit, see if that helps any. Alright, so hopefully that will help some of the blowouts. Okay, so this is the first card, and I kind of love it. I really kind of do. I know the black on black doesn't show up very well, but this is our card. So let's go ahead and tell you what we're using to make it. This I think is the one with the fewest supplies out of all of the cards today. So we are using the Layers of Beauty stamp and stencils. We are using the Greetings of the Season dies. We're going to use this big tag here. We are using Basic Gray and Smoky Slate pearls. Our Stampin' Pierce mat, actually, yes, we are using that. We have some white baker's twine, some Memento black ink, and then only 2 inks, Pretty in Pink and Summer Splash. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, sizes. Goodness. All right, so I do have a basic envelope. They come in packs of 20, 25 does not sound right. I think 40 actually. That is not the right spot. There is a index in here. Basic white medium envelopes, page 107. $40. So you get 40 envelopes for $11, which is not terrible. Not terrible. All right, so we have a black card base. We have 2 pieces of white that are 4 by 5 1/4. We have, oh goodness, so many things. We have a Country Lace DSP piece. This is also 4 by 5 1/4. We have that same paper that is 2 3/8 by 6 for the envelope. We have the die. Oh, we are also using the dies for that stamp set. So it is technically 3 things: the stamp set, the die, and the stencil. So we are using this. This is cut out of thick white cardstock, and we're going to create a second layer with it because we are, as you can see, popping that up. All right. We have a 1/2 inch by 4 inches piece for the inside. And as always, I have 2 pieces that we're stamping the sentiment on. Hopefully we'll only use 1, but we'll see. Oh, and also blending brushes. You can use the same size. I had already used these in these sizes, which is why they are. So it was already inked up in these colors, in these sizes. So we're just sticking with that. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's stamp our sentiment first, and also grab one of our white pieces. I feel like I don't have enough room currently. I know I do. It feels that way, you know? Sometimes that's just how it goes. All right, so we are going to stamp this in the top right corner. That is not... You know what? We are going to use this later. It's just a stack of scratch paper that I have. All right, for some reason, there we go. It was too clean, so it was instantly pooling the ink as soon as I inked it up. So if that happens to you, clean it off. You can go ahead and use your chamois and then just rub it on the back of your hand, and that will help. Okay. Now I do have the larger stamp in my MISTI. Right, and this is here because this is, you know, where it worked when I was playing with it the other day. So we're just going to leave that there and ink this up and stamp. I don't have my MISTI sock. It's gone hiding. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this one extra time. Now this would be super easy to do a bunch of, right? Especially if you have it in your MISTI, just stamp a whole bunch of them. If you've been here before, you know that I have a very large stack of 4 by 5 1/4 white pieces, because I put them inside all of my cards, and so I just have them ready to go. And so you'll see me grab them all the time to use as my scratch paper, right? So that is something to consider. You don't have to do it, obviously, but if you make a ton of cards, it's a great idea. And so they're ready to go, ready to stamp at all times, right? So because we are going to be blending, I did pre-stamp this so that I don't have to worry about smearing any of this ink. So I'm going to keep this and do it again, do another card, anyway, you get the idea. So this is dry, been dry for a little bit, and we're just going to move on to our next step, which involves our larger scrap piece, because we're going to use our stencils. So I'm going to bring in a pencil, and you can see I have a mark here. It's not going to be the same mark today. So we're just going to take our paper, we're going to take our glue, and we're just going to put just a couple little dots. And you don't necessarily have to do 4. That's just a good, easy way to do this. And I'm just going to lay this down, right? So this is now attached to my larger scratch paper. So this, I believe, is 8 by 8 or 8.5 by 8, something like that. All right, so we're going to take our first stencil, and they are numbered at the top. Right, so this one's number 1. I think you can kind of see it even if it is blurry. Now when I first did my sample, I did not stamp first. I did all the blending and then I stamped. So you can do it either way, and you don't even have to stamp. You could just not stamp if that's what you wanted. All right, so I have lined this up. You can obviously see through. And I'm just going to use my pencil to mark this V notch in the top, right? Now, if you wanted to do this like on a scrapbook page and you didn't want to put that V on your page in case you maybe can't erase it, grab a Post-it note. All right, just grab a Post-it note. Let's see if I can do this without moving it. Put it on your paper, right? So Post-it notes are sticky, it's gonna stay there. And then you can put your mark on your Post-it note. It would not be a Thursday video if we did not hear from Otis. And then your mark is on your Post-it note and not on your project, and you can still line everything up and not have to worry about it. Okay, so we have everything lined up. I am also going to put some washi down. Do you have to? Nope. Am I going to? Yep, because I'm afraid I'm going to move it and mess everything up. Okay, so we are going to go in with our Pretty in Pink, and we're only going to use Pretty in Pink for our flowers, and we are only going to use Summer Splash for our leaves. Right, so we're just going to take a little bit, and we're just going to make this light. Now when I did this, I made it super, super, super light. Bring that in, you can maybe see part of it. Ooh, that's darker than I wanted. All right, so the amount of pressure that you put on your brush will directly affect the amount of color that's left on the paper. Now, one of the things that you do want to make sure to do, right, you can see most of my swirls are this way. You want to make sure to go this way, the opposite direction as well. And it doesn't matter quite so much on the bigger flowers, but it makes a huge difference on the smaller flowers and the tiny leaves when we get there. Okay, so this is darker than I did my first one, and that's okay. Quite all right. All right, I'm gonna move this, pull up our stencil, grab stencil number 2, line that up with our notch, which means it should, you know what, let's line it up with the other notch so I can make sure that it is actually in the right spot. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing. Ink up a brush. So the good news is all of this is going down on top of already inked areas. So your spacing is automatically going to get darker, right? Even if you don't do a ton of extra pressure, it's automatically going to be darker. Right, remember to go the opposite direction. And your first time doing it, it's always better to go lighter than you think you need, because you can go back and add more color if you want. Can't really take it away. Right, so you can see we have some shading already. It looks great like this. You could leave your flowers like this and not do any more. But we are going to keep going because they are designed that way. Alright, so these are the centers of those daisies, or not daisies, whatever they are. But the other thing too is because we have these notches and because we are marking, we can lift up our stencil, see if we like how much ink is there, and put it back and be able to get it lined up super easy. These are nice and thick. I love how thick these are. They're not going to inadvertently bend when you're doing stuff. There might be some pieces here and there on some stencils, because you know there are some tiny little masked areas. But overall, they should be nice and stable. All right, next up, leaves, number 4. So we are done with our flowers. Right, they're so pretty, so pretty. Hello, Maria. Hello, Pauline. Yay! Pauline is in Australia. It's probably, what, 7? Is it 7, Pauline? Tell me how close I am. In the morning on Friday for her. All right, Summer Splash. Maria, they are doing construction on the road that I take to go to your house. Well, took to go to your house. All right, Summer Splash. And again, so there are only 2 layers of color for these leaves. So use that knowledge however you'd like. Now, I will say that if you are doing this on a layout, right, or on a project that you maybe want to make sure you don't get, you know, ink off the edges, put down Post-it notes or something, because inevitably you will get ink off the sides. And I'm not sure if that ink there is from today or from when I was doing the sample. I don't know. But either way. So if you're doing it on your full project, like a scrapbook page or a larger card where you aren't going to be cutting this out like we are, then definitely make sure to take care of your project space. Right? Super pretty. Fine, just like that. Adding another layer. It's harder for me to see up here on camera, so I'm using the lines from the stamping and the inking already. Oh, 10:20. Oh gosh, I was really off. So now the bigger brush, it is a little bit harder to get into these tiny, tiny little spaces, but it is possible with the right amount of effort. Okay. And look at our flowers. Look at how pretty they are. So it was kind of funny when I was doing up my sample. Like I said, I did not stamp first. I did all of the stenciling first, and so I had no black. I had just these colors, and this just screamed retro flowers, like 40s, 30s, 40s, like roses, right? And I don't know how well that conveys on video, but like seriously, it was kind of crazy. All right, we are going to cut these. So initially I wasn't sure if I was going to cut this out, so I was just kind of trying to make it work on those pieces that I told you that I have. And then that didn't stick very well at all, did it? And then I decided I wanted to tuck something underneath it. So I was like, oh, gotta cut it. And well, yes, I could cut this by hand. I don't want to. I don't know about you, but I don't want to. So good news for me, I don't have to. Good news for you too, because that makes the video faster. Okay. And look at that. So pretty. Okay. back in the case so I don't lose it. Maybe I should have powdered that before I did that, because now I have glue on my thing. Oh well. Okay, moving forward. Moving on, whatever. So when I did cut this, you'll notice that there's, it looks like just one spot. I think just one spot got cut off. Because this is just going to be an underlying layer, like, I don't have to have all the extra little fiddly bits. You can have all the bits, but you don't have to. So if you have a piece that's almost big enough, use it. Use it for a supporting layer underneath whatever you're going to pop up. It makes it feel like, or at least look like, it's chipboard instead of just paper. Yes, I needed to do the air quotes. And it just adds that much more pizzazz, luxuriousness, whatever word combo you want to use. So yes, I do highly recommend using a liquid glue for this. I'm just trying to make sure that all the bits are lined up. Grab my bone folder. I moved my little tool caddy to the other side of my desk. I keep reaching to the wrong spot. Always burnish on the back side so you don't mess up the pretty side. Maria, right? Like this whole set. And there's a video. I will have to find the video again and share the link. I know I talked about it the first time I used this, but I saw the video. So this stamp set, let me go back a little bit. See this little symbol right here? That means that this set is a set designed by a $1 million seller, which is less than 2% of the Stampin' Up! Demonstrator population hit $1 million in sales. And a little known fact, less than 1% of women entrepreneurs in the United States hit $1 million in sales in their business. So it is a ginormous thing. So this was designed by Shelley Godbey, and there's a whole story behind it that involves ups and downs. I don't want to give it away yet, but it involves ups and downs and what she wanted and was told she couldn't have, and then found out that she could have because of something that happened and her late husband and all the things. So she talks about how it got designed and that whole process. It was really cool. All right, we need, oops. Pauline, you gotta tell me which part is new. Probably the $1 million sales 1% entrepreneurs part, huh? I thought that was a cool part. I got that from a podcast that I listened to. All right, so like always, lots of foam. Good news is we are almost ready to put everything together. Everything has been stamped. Everything has been colored. A little guy there. That's gonna need one of these. Oh, I don't need that much. Gosh. Gosh. Oh, about the symbol on the case. Nice. Yeah, on the side, in case you missed it, also, so it also has a symbol, and it says who it is by, who the achiever is. Plus, it has all, look, it has tiny. It's not gonna focus. It did for half a second. It wants to focus on the table. There we go. So it has all of the images, super tiny, right? All the images. All the images. Oh, here. See? All the images here, all the images here. And they do that on all the stamp sets. So that's really cool. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Moving on. Focus, focus, focus. Didn't I cut? I did, okay. I'm like, didn't I cut too? Thought I did. Already forgotten what I've cut. Goodness gracious. Oh, don't stick there. That's not where we want you to stick. Okay. Alright, now we are ready to glue it all together. Hooray! Alright, so let's do our envelope real quick. This envelope does not want to bend backwards. All right. We will let that dry and we will move on to the rest. All right, so we did only have to stamp once. Hooray. That means this will go in the package to be able to use another time. Oh gosh, it did that last time too. If you don't tack down your tape, it will keep rolling when you pull. Which is probably not usually what you want it to do. Okay. So this is, I know I said it at the beginning, but this is Country Lace DSP. We already know that the country wood is a favorite. The country lace is just as fun. It has all sorts of fun texture to it. Oh, we need some twine. And we're just gonna, it's just a tiny bit. We don't need very much. So if you have any pieces that are too short that you kept because they were too long to throw away, this is a great place to use them. Alright, so we are just going to, now depending on how you cut it, you could have a line right here so that you can make sure that your piece is straight. That's always nice. Alright, so now we should be able to, we're going to lay this down here so we can see where everything falls, right? Because you want to keep it at least mostly. Oh, see that right there? Goodness. That's okay. At least mostly at the edges within the card base. All right, so I want to tuck our strings underneath our flowers. So I just wanted to make sure that they were going to be tucked in an inconspicuous spot. I don't want the ends poking out. All right. I have learned that the secret to making this little trick work with the dimensionals and the backings is to make sure that the paper doesn't pop up. Right, that one I had to do a whole bunch of times because the paper kept popping up like this, right? But if I hold the paper down, it comes up first dry. So that is an extra little secret. I love doing this. They come up so nice and easily, and it works with the take your pick tool also. Oh no, oh no, oh no, no, no. Let go. Let go. Let go. Thank you. Nobody will know. Okay, I want to put a little piece right there. I'm just using that block to hold it down so that I can put this in the right spot and not have it get stuck again someplace I don't want it to. All right, card is done. And now just trim this off. I would definitely measure your envelope flaps. So I have found that these one, it doesn't make any sense to me. So it's either me just measuring really poorly, or there is actually a difference. but I have found that some of them are just over 2 inches and some of them are 2 3/8. And so that's kind of a big difference. I mean, it's not, but it is. All right. Card number 1. Super cute, right? Not a lot of stuff needed. Oh wait, pearls. I am not sure which is which on the darker and lighter. So smoky slate, basic gray. So we have dark little, light little, dark big, light big. It took me way longer than it should have to figure that out. Way longer. I think because there's some space here, and I don't know. It was silly. All right, that is card number 1. Thank you, ladies. All right, card number 2. This one, the next 2 cards are inspired by cards that are in the Make It From Your Heart Volume 1. So if you were a Close to My Heart consultant or customer, this might look familiar to you. So they did both come out of this. This is one of the resources that I do have at my crops, my crafting bees that I do. So you do have the ability to use them. So that is a super, super big bonus. But this one is inspired by a garbage bag commercial. So we have happy, happy, happy. Birthday, birthday, birthday. So the garbage bag commercial is Hefty, Hefty, Hefty. That's the name of the bags. And then Wimpy, Wimpy, Wimpy for the competitor bags. So this is our envelope with a little bit of blueberry bushel on the front. So you could use any color combination that you wanted with this. I went with blue and gray, with a tiny bit of green for the leaves, because I mean we need color for our leaves. But you could do any color. You could do pinks instead of blues, and then it's a more feminine card. All right, so what are we using for this? We are using Attention Shoppers for our birthday plant. Well, for our plant and our happy birthday. And our cake as well, which is down here at the bottom. And then Iconic Imagery for our confetti. I originally thought about doing the hearts, but they weren't as big as I would have liked them to be. And this could be a fun Christmas. You could do snowflakes instead of confetti if it's a winter birthday. Anyway, all sorts of options. We are using watercolor pencils. So this is the first set. So we are using gray, blue, and green. The shape is actually the dies for Iconic Imagery. So with all of the Stampin' Up! Sets, you can purchase everything separately. So you can get just the stamp set, you can get just the dies, you can get the 2 of them together. When a stamp set is new, then you do get a bundled savings when you purchase them together, and so that is something to keep in mind. Right. So we have, of course, our envelope. We have another black card base. So this is almost a SIP card, stamps, ink, and paper. The shape obviously means it's not. And I'm not sure if pencils qualify in stamp, ink, and paper, but if not, I think they should. So I do have these cut out of thick white cardstock, and again, I have 2 in case I mess up my stamping. I have a 3/4 inch by more than 4, simply because I just kind of sort of cut it in half, but we'll trim that so it is 4 inches, and then 2 of those 4 by 5 1/4 white pieces. Okay, so let's do our stamping that we're going to color. Let's do that one first. And I'm all sorts of discombobulated. Oh, I guess I should tell you what colors of ink we're using. Hi, Rhonda. All right, basic gray and blueberry bushel are the 2 that we're using. And I will actually bring back in the paper that we used on that first card, because we do need to stamp off for our cakes at the bottom. But we'll get to that here in a second. All right, plants. Here we go. I had everything all sorted by the card, and then I needed to wash off my desk because it was kind of gross. So then everything got all mixed together. If these aren't straight, that's okay. They don't have to be. Which is a good thing because those are not straight. All right. Happy. So if you wanted to, you could get another happy and kind of like pair them together, so something that's maybe a little bit larger. I felt like I needed to fill up the space a little bit more. And I didn't necessarily want birthday on the front of the card. And so I just kind of went with 3. I was going to do happy, happy, happy birthday, end of story on the inside. And then that commercial popped in my brain. I was like, nope, gotta do that. Gotta do that. So we're just going to kind of mimic on the envelope. All right, so we have, one on each side. And while we have the gray out, we're going to swap over to this. I'm trying to remember. I think it is 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it is 2 and 3 that I alternated, but I might just stick with 2. Maybe 3. So you guys tell me. So this is first generation, and let me show you what I did do. So I do have some variations in here that alternate between 2 and 3. So tell me, should I stay with the alternating? Should I do all 2 or all 3? And while you tell me that, I'm going to set this one aside and do the blueberry bushel part. And that way you guys have a chance to interact and have a say in what we end up doing for this card. Alright, so you want to make sure that you twist your stamp set so not everything is in the same direction. And you want to make sure to go off the edges as well. I think one more. Okay. And then one on our envelope. Otis, please stop. What did we do on the inside? I forgot the inside one. Okay. Good news is we still have everything out. All right. So I think I'm going to do the other one here instead of on that same side. All right, we are done with the blue. All right, birthday and our gray. All right, we have some mixed thoughts. Now, if you are, excuse my head, if you are afraid of not stamping your stuff straight, you could 100% do one straight and one cockeyed one way and the other cockeyed a different way, or something. Anyway, so you have options just in case you're afraid of not being able to stamp straight. A little plant off the corner. Okay, inside is done. Bottom. All right, we have alternate, and all 2. All right, well, looks like alternates 1. Now, one of the things I did not catch, I will point out to you guys. Let's see. Do you see where I goofed up on here? So one of the things I wasn't paying attention to, I know it's blurry, I wish it would focus. On this one right here, so I did when I stamped off, I kind of hit something at an angle. So I have some of this at, so this one is probably, so this is 2 and this is 3. So I probably, I'm not even sure what I did. Anyway, so part of it's at 3 and part of it's at 2 because I wasn't paying attention. So I need to pay attention a little bit more. That's what I'm saying. Goodness, take too long to decide. Here, I need to do some placement sizes here. Here, let's see about kind of keeping it the same-ish. There. Okay, so that is all of our stamping for this card. Let's do some gluing. All right. Oh no. All right, I'll have to see if that erases. Probably a finger. Maybe that finger. Gosh. Okay. So 2 trick options. A sand eraser. So it's not quite the same rubbery as, you know, your regular pink eraser. Look at that, it's a well-loved eraser from my kids in school. But it has the gummy material, but it has sand in it, so it will erase away the top layer, or I guess it depends on how hard you push. Also depends on how deep your ink is. All right, so that is option 1. Option 2 is a white gel pen. So this is on the inside of the card. I'm just actually going to leave it. I am going to clean off my thumb though, in case that is what it is, and hopefully that will be the end of it. So this is the chamois. Look how thick this is. Oh my goodness. It's crazy thick. I love it. I love it. And I just have it in a case. Okay, we are not coloring the stamp on the inside of the card. You can, we are not. All right. Extra. Woohoo! We like it when that happens. Okay, so on the original, I stamped the decoration of the pot, the stripe, with the blue, and this time I'm going to do the pot in the blue and do the gray on the stripe. I like to, change it up sometimes. So I am pressing decently hard with the blue pencil. Now these are watercolor pencils, so you can use a water brush, you can use a paintbrush, you can use a blending brush. You could probably also use a blender brush. And if you don't know the difference between all of those, let me know. So I'm just doing super light from the edge to the center, like I do with my coffee cups. There's a new coffee cup set coming. Oh my gosh, I am so excited for it. I was going to color this lighter and I totally forgot what I was doing, and now it's dark leaves. I guess we're just going all sorts of different on this one. At least I didn't color the leaves blue. So there is that. The shadow on the stripe almost makes it look like it's a white stripe with a shadow. So it's kind of fun. Now, if I had to guess on the original card in the book, instead of using a stamp for the confetti like we did, I would be willing to bet that they used a finger dauber and just did circles. So that is another option for you. This one you could do like we did on the last one and do another layer to make it a little bit stiffer on the card. That is kind of up to you and what you feel like doing. I do like to test by pressing on it and seeing if there's any like super low spots. So if you see me do that and then flip it back over and add, that's because something pushed down a little bit too much for my liking. Okay, so now we waited to glue this until we could kind of get a visual, and because we're popping this up, we needed this first. So we want to center our blueberry bushel cardstock in the center of the banner part of this. And I think right there is good. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball where this is lining up so I can get it lined up in that same spot. At least ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. These are handmade cards after all. Wanda says it erases the first layer, but the ink goes past the first layer. Sometimes, yes, it does. And this time, clearly, that was the case as well. Maria, I am the coffee cup girl. I am. And I don't have any right now. So, I know there is a set out there right now. I could. It's just, it's not the right one. It's not a to-go. I need it to be a to-go. And I didn't realize for a long time why, like, some of them I liked and others I didn't. You know, I didn't really think that much into it. And I realized when I saw this one, that that's what it was. It's got to be a to-go cup. And it's one that Brandy's going to need too, because it's all about pumpkin spice. Well, and not everything, Not everything on it is, but there is pumpkin spice on there. Look how easy these come up. I say as it doesn't. It's so fantastic. I love it. And just like that, we're done. Right? So these cards don't have any bling on them because they are guy cards. I do have a few options. So you guys tell me, should I go through... Oh, Maria, what did Alan make for dinner? You guys tell me if I should go through and see if there's a guy bling that we should add on here. All right. All right, last card. Last but not least. And there's only a little bit of stamping. That's the only thing we're gonna stamp on this card. This one was fun. And this one, you guys will have to let me know what you think. I'm not gonna show it to you. Oh, I was gonna say I'm not gonna show it to you yet, but you can see it. It's off to the side. I thought that part was off screen. That's okay. So this is our card. I do love this color. You'll have to let me know about the green. Do you like the soft seafoam on here? It is a very pale green. It's lighter than Sweet Leaf. If you remember Sweet Leaf, it is lighter than that. What were the name of those? If you remember Taffy, if you're a consultant and you remember Taffy, which means you've been around, it's in that family kind of line of color, if that makes sense. All right, so this is our card. We are going to use Simply Zinnia for our sentiment. Thank you so much. Like I said, that's the only thing. Now, if you did not have any of this paper, well, you'd have to change the whole card. But if you didn't have any more of this paper, of the flower, you could stamp this. They're not quite the same size, but they are close-ish. Right? Close-ish. So you could stamp it and color it. There are matching leaves, of course, as well. So you could do that. We are using the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. And our dots are transparent adhesive backed dots. And we're going to use this Blackberry Bliss color. All right. What do we got? We have our envelope, of course. We have our piece for our envelope flap. Our card base is Blackberry Bliss. We have our white piece for the inside, and our soft seafoam are both 4x5 1/4. And then we have, this piece is 2.5 by 3.5. If I remember correctly, yes indeed. Keep that out, I'm going to need it. Now this piece is not just a 1/4 inch bigger. So this piece is 2 3/4 by 3 5/8, because we are lining it up at the very bottom down here. Okay, so you don't want it to be the full square. Okay, and then we have, this is 1 by 3.5. You could do shorter it just is going to tuck under there nicely, so that's why that is. And this is 1.5 by 4 5/8, but you could easily do 4 inches. It was what was left over after cutting these off. Okay, we also have the pink for the inside of the card. These leaves are extra. And this is another one of the flowers. From this paper. No, none of the dies match any of the big flowers in this entire pack, unfortunately. And some of them you can see have the leaves, others have either a single leaf or have no leaves. It just kind of depends. The other thing to keep in mind is if you are going to cut out the whole thing, you could use this piece here, right? If you cut out this one and cut out that one and cut out this one, you have this weird piece here. Keep that because you could use that on the corner of like the inside of your card. Oops. Just saying. Alright, so I know these flowers aren't the same color, but they were next to each other, so we're gonna go with it. First up, let's attach our envelope. I'll attach to our envelope. Pauline, I don't know that we're gonna know what's for dinner. Ellen does make some good food though. Not much I can tell you. Oh, she did say she's gonna watch a replay, so she should post a comment when she watches the replay. Then, not only will we know she watched a replay, but then we can find out what was for dinner. Okay, next up, stamping. And I am using just Memento Black. So I am going to have this be more towards one end than the other. Excuse my head. Gotta try and make sure it's straight. Yeah, close enough. And that's it. That's all the stamping. No more stamping. We're done stamping for the day. Alright, and then the only other thing to do is run our, that's the wrong piece, run our soft seafoam through our embossing folder. So this is the main plate that you'll use with every die cutting sandwich you're going to use. And it's a sticker on here. So you'll never have to go looking for what sandwich you need. It's going to be right there. voila, we have paint texture, like plaster or a thick oil pastel. Okay, so we're gonna see if I can figure this out. So when I did my sample, I did the white first and then the Blackberry Bliss. But actually, my brain just realized what I did wrong before. So we're going to put just a tiny bit of glue and we are going to line this up as if we were going to keep it a rectangle. All right, so I'm even on these three sides. That side doesn't matter, it's getting tucked. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm actually questioning myself a whole lot, as if you couldn't tell. So we're going to try this. I'm going to go with this and we'll find out real quick if my brain is correct. All right, so we have these lined up as if it's staying a rectangle. And then we're going to cut, paying attention to the white banner as to how deep we want our fishtail end to be, or tail to be. And then we are going to make sure that we're lining up corner to corner and then snipping like we would normally do. Okay. It's a little bit harder to line up corner to corner if you can't see your papers. Ah, that moved. I'm going to have to fix that because that is not correct. Alright, so if you have to come up on your colored banner, Blackberry Bliss in this case, go ahead and do that. I think I did not put enough glue. Like, this is shifted a couple times. Okay, then you should be able to take off your glue, which is why we only used a little, and add glue and then scoot it back a little bit, and then it lines up, which it does. It is uneven, but it lines up. Use the other ones because they are a little more pointed. So some scissors you can cut all the way to the end and you'll have a nice smooth snip. Other scissors, if you do that, you'll have an extra little catch at the end, and it's not a quality issue per se. It is the size of the end of your scissors. So, case in point, I know it's not going to focus, but you can see the silver is thicker than the black. So this one is Stampin' Up! And this is Close to My Heart. So there is a thickness difference, and so when you cut into something, it can give an extra little tear so that it fits, right? Kind of like trying to fit something into a paper bag that is slightly too large. You might think it's going to fit, but then that bag is going to tear. Alright. Oh, and this piece I don't think I said, but of course it is 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches. It's probably actually longer than that because it was what was left over. So we'll just snip off that excess. Remember, we are aligning this one on the bottom and then equal edging on the other sides. Let's add some glue. This embossing folder is pretty sturdy, so you can use your Stampin' Seal or any other rolled, there we go, glue, or you can use liquid, of course. Alright, and I'm actually also going to do this flat. And yes, it would be super cute if it was popped as well, but that's okay. So you'll have to tell me what you think of the soft seafoam with the Blackberry Bliss and the pink. What pink is this? Petal Pink. So this, we are lining it up about 1/2 inch. You want to keep this and this kind of similar. They don't have to be exact, just similar. Alright, and our banner, we're going to do so that the bottom of our banner is just above halfway. And then our flower, we're just going to make sure that that covers, right, this end of our banner, and hopefully does not cover our words. And our card itself is ready for embellishments. Pauline, she says she likes it because it tones down that base color. It is a very dark, very winter, late fall, winter color for sure. Alright, this is the last step. See, and this is cut the same size as before, and on the other one I had extra space. I don't know, man. How to tell you were a teenager in the 90s. or I guess anytime since then. And voila. Right? Super, super simple. Very little stamping. You could use whatever stamps that you had, so it wouldn't have to be a thank you, but it could be miss you, it could be congrats, it could be anything. It could be happy, happy, happy. Right? It could be anything. Those, my friends, are the cards for today. So definitely let me know which one is your favorite, and why it's your favorite. Is it because of the technique, the stamp, the colors, just because I needed something like that, and any of the above? Let me know which one is your favorite card for today, and just pop that in the comments. So, like always, if this inspires you to make a card or a scrapbook page from what I've done, it's been known to happen, I would love to know. So either comment here on the video, post it to me on the Facebook group or page, or even just send me a message. I would love to see them. And if you share on Facebook, everybody else can give you love as well. So, just saying. It's kind of like being at the crop without being at the crop. Sort of. At least on that part of it. So, anyway, thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video with me. I do hope it inspires you to be creative, even if just a little bit. I love doing this for you guys every week, and I look forward to being here next week with you to make 3 more cards. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.